Hello all, welcome to another quick learning. Today I'm going to be going over the numeric functions in Tableau, which ones I use, and then I'll skip a lot of them, but I'll just tell you which ones I commonly use and how they're used. So if you right click and you'll create calculated field, you'll get this popped up. You'll see over here you can write your calculation, and over here you may have this unexpanded. If you just click this little arrow here, it'll expand this. And then they have a little drop down and you can just select the number functions. So there's a lot here. I don't use most of these, but the ones that I do use I'll just go over quickly. So the ABS stands for absolute value. So you just put ABS in a number, so something like this. ABS, and that will give you the absolute value. So it's very simple. If you know what an absolute value is, if the value is negative, it will return a positive. So sometimes when I'm doing subtraction of two different fields, let's do internet usage or something, just a number, doesn't matter, infinite right? So let's say I was it doesn't make sense to subtract these, but if I was subtracting two different numbers and I only cared about the magnitude of the difference, I could use the absolute value function to get that. And then, so you've got a lot of trigonomic functions, which I don't use. Ceiling, that'll round everything up. So if you have a number, it'll round up to the nearest integer value. We've got the div function, so this will divide and it'll round down to the nearest value. So you can see 11 divided by 2, you'll get 5. There will also be a 1 remainder, so it'll actually be 5.5, but it'll round down to 5. Floor does the same thing as kind of ceiling, except it's the opposite, where it'll round down to the nearest integer. So you got the regular logarithmic function, so you can put in a number and it will use base 10 by default, or you can use any base you want if you put in the second parameter. Max and min, so if you put in a series of values, it will return the highest value. Min, a series of values, it will return the lowest value. Power, so you can do a base number to any power you want. So here it's 5 to the second. You could do the same thing with the square function, but this one will also allow you to do like 5 cubed or something like that. Round I use sometimes if I want to round numbers off. So here you put in your number and then the number of decimal places you want after it. And then probably the most useful one that I actually use is actually Zn. So if you have nulls in a lot of your values and you want the nulls to be 0 instead of null, you can use the Zn function for that dimension, or measure I should say. And then if it is null, it will instead replace that with a 0. So if you're joining tables and where there should be a 0, there is instead a null, you can replace that with this Zn function. You could do the same thing with an if null or something like that, but it takes a little bit more work and it's not as elegant as the Zn function. Alright, so that's a quick overview of the number functions that I commonly use. I hope you guys found that useful and you're able to incorporate those in your calculations. Thank you very much.